Welcome back to another segment of What is the Injeel, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Chef Logic, Avery Austin. And today we have Pastor Logic on the stage. Say what's up to the audience, Pastor Logic.
What's up, guys? I'm back again.
All right. So Pastor Logic says that Paul is unreliable because he accepted the writings of the gospel from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which Muhammad did not accept. So he's saying that that's not the authentic Injeel. So this means that he knows what the authentic Injeel is and can tell us what it is. So tell us, Pastor Logic, what is the Injeel?
Avery, yeah, before we move on to this, can I just quickly touch on that hadith you were bringing up?
No, this is it. This is what you ran into. This is the reason why you said Paul is not reliable. So this is the subject here.
But wait, so you're saying it's irrelevant to do that 1 minute of the hadith you pulled up earlier?
Absolutely, it's irrelevant right now. Well, I promise you, Pastor Logic, I promise you, you have my word. I will let you get to that once we finish our topic. I promise.
Okay. So we're gonna talk about your favorite topic. What is the Injeel?
What is the Injeel then?
Amazing. As I'm sure you're familiar with chapter 5, we are clearly told what the Injeel is. So the Injeel is similar to the Quran. It is one of the 4 books divinely revealed by Allah that was given to Jesus. And notice keywords. It was given to Jesus. It was not attributed to Jesus by later authors writing a biography of him. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. What was that?
Amazing. So at least would you agree with that part? We are saying that this.
I know. I hear what you're saying. I'm asking, what was that? What was that Injeel that was given to Jesus? What was that book?
So what was revealed to Jesus was whatever words he was given. It wasn't like, I think what's essential. It wasn't a physical book that was sent from the sky.
Okay.
It wasn't a physical book. Yeah. It wasn't like It wasn't like the new Bible. It wasn't the Quran, the physical copies we have today. These are printed editions. Yeah? So it wasn't in that form. It was revealed in the form of words, just like Muhammad ﷺ received it. Yes.
Got it. So what you're saying is that this was an oral revelation that Jesus went around preaching.
Yes, of course. That's my position. If I'm correct, I stand to be corrected by the community. Yeah.
No. I think that's the general view. So, okay, I hear what you're saying. So the Injeel is an oral revelation that Jesus is going around preaching. Still don't know what that is just yet, but let me just probably help us out by asking another question. Was it written?
Was it written?
Mm-hmm.
Now the history of Jesus is unclear to us because, as you know, we don't have a lot of documents.
That's not what I asked.
The only thing we can ascribe to Jesus of the gospel is what the Quran confirms. So
no worries. Was the Injeel written? That's all I asked, brother.
Wait, say it again. What's your question?
Was the Injeel written?
Written. So are you saying, was the Injeel written by Jesus, or what are you saying?
I'm just asking, was it written at all?
Was it written at all?
Yes.
I have no problem with the stance that it was written. Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Okay, got it. So the Quran was written by who? I'm sorry, the Injeel was written by who?
Okay, now here's where my knowledge gap stops. I don't know if Jesus himself wrote it, but I am assuming just like the prophet had companions, his disciples went on and wrote it as well.
Nice. Okay. I got you. So his disciples wrote the Injeel, the gospel that Jesus was orally preaching. His disciples wrote it down. Yeah. Nice. So my question now is ultimately, I guess we got here, because it sounds like you believe exactly what I believe. I believe that Jesus was going around orally preaching the gospel, and his disciples ended up writing down what he preached. Yes. So my question to you is, how do you know that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John didn't write the Injeel?
Amazing. Now, I think, do you know how sometimes the Muslims come in and tell you that Jesus is a Muslim, and then you get agitated by that, and then you allow them, you basically make them disprove it by asking them questions?
I guess that's my tactic. Yeah.
That's it. I'm going to use the exact tactic. Now, I think, despite you asking that question, I think you know yourself that the Gospel of Matthew, Mark, Luke, John are actually not the Injeel, because the authors are anonymous. Would you agree with that?
I don't. But let me go with you. Okay. Let me grant that they're anonymous. So when you say anonymous, means we don't know who wrote them.
We don't know who wrote it. Matter of fact, the names we're giving them, I don't even know. I don't even understand why we're giving them since they're anonymous.
Okay, I got you. Wait, stop there because that's important.
Yeah.
So then, who are the writers of the Injil?
The Injeel or the New Testament?
The Injil. Who are the writers of the Injil?
Earlier, we agreed that the disciples of Jesus must have written down the Injeel.
Who are they?
The disciples of Jesus.
I'll ask it again. Who are they?
Who are they? They are those who he preached to.
Who are they? Who?
Who are they? Like, you want me to name disciples?
Yes.
Look, if I start naming them and I start calling them John, Peter, Andrew, you're gonna ask me where did I get them from, and then you're gonna say, "Oh, you got it from the New Testament."
So you see the problem. So what's the answer?
Okay. So now, since I don't want to dig myself that hole, this is my answer. I don't know the names of the disciples of Jesus.
Nice. So instead of being honest, wait. So instead of being honest and actually naming the actual disciples of Jesus, because you know where that will go, you would rather say that you don't know, which is okay. So you don't know who the authors of the Injil are. So then,
one thing, Avery. Yeah.
So then,
so
then that means that the authors of the Injil are anonymous, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
So
one thing.
This is what we have so far. This is what we have so far.
The gospel. One thing. I just
go ahead.
Wait. Yeah. You said I was being dishonest. I'm actually not being dishonest. I believe if I was to take these names that you believe in, Andrew, Peter, John, and Thomas, I feel like I would be dishonest then because I don't believe them.
Oh, no worries. I take that back then. If you don't believe that those are the disciples, then then that was irrelevant for you to bring up then. Like seriously.
Yeah.
Okay. But no worries. So we're dealing with where we're at. So this is where we're at.
Yeah.
The gospel was something that Jesus was going around preaching orally. Yes. His disciples, which is what Christians believe, the disciples were the ones who wrote down what he preached, is what Christians believe.
Yep.
Now you said that these authors, these disciples, these authors who wrote down the gospel are anonymous, which is how you know that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John didn't write the New Testament, but the Injil has anonymous authors. So It sounds like everything that you said matches what you believe about the New Testament. Yeah. So again, I ask, how do you know that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John didn't write the Injil if you're saying it's anonymous?
Amazing. All right, Avery. We both agreed that both the New Testament and the Injil are anonymously authored. Do we agree on that part?
I don't agree with that. This is your position.
You're granting it to me.
This is your position. So how do you know that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John didn't write the Injil?
Amazing. Now, I think you might have forgotten earlier that I told you who the real author of the Injil is. I told you it was the divine, revealed words of God given to Jesus.
Yeah, but you said you don't know who wrote it. That's what we're talking about.
I just told you, Avery, who wrote it was revealed from God.
All right, so I'll ask it again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you saying that Allah wrote the Injil, or are you saying that he just revealed it?
I do not believe a book was sent like a physical book. I believe.
Okay, so we don't need to go back to square one. We already know that you believe that it was revealed orally and eventually by his disciples got written down, but you don't know who they are. So we're here at this question. Let's not backtrack. Let's stay right here.
Okay. So your question
is, how do you know that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John did not write the Injil when you don't know who wrote it?
Amazing. How do I know that the current present books, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, despite me not knowing the authors of the Injil, how do I know that this is not the Injil? Okay.
My question was, how do you know that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John did not write the Injil? Please answer that directly. Let's not play games.
Okay.
I'm stalling.
Answer directly. Because I don't know who John, Mark, Matthew, or Luke are. I don't know who they are.
No worries. So how do you know that they didn't write the Injil? You can't. So this is where we're at. You don't know who Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are, but you don't know if Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John wrote the Injil or not, right?
Okay, I can agree with that as well, yeah.
Okay, so then that means you have no grounds to reject that they wrote the injeel. You can't reject it. You don't know.
So yes, I have no problem in your position where me not knowing who Matthew, Mark, Luke, John are, me not knowing if they wrote the injeel. So yeah, I won't be able today to reject the fact that those 4 individuals copied down what Jesus was preaching.
So then that means that you cannot reject the New Testament writing as the injeel, right? By Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, at least. When they write down, when they record Jesus' words, you can't reject that as the injeel, right?
Okay, now here's where we have another problem now. Now, I read the books, the Gospels of Mark, Matthew, Luke, John, and I see clearly that these are authored in a style where it is describing the biography of Jesus. It doesn't sound like the Quran, where God is speaking to the people. You see what I mean?
Question. How do you know that the written injeel was not in a biographical format?
Okay, to me, it does not make sense that God would reveal words to Jesus describing his biography to him. That's why I disagree with it.
Could God reveal to Jesus information in a biographical format?
Could you give me an example?
That's the question. Could God reveal revelation in a biographical format?
Okay, can God reveal to Jesus something that's describing his life?
Yes.
I believe God is capable, but I do not believe that's what God revealed to Jesus. That's my
No
answer.
worries. I understand. You don't believe that was the case. However, it's possible, right?
Okay, yeah, we'll go with possibility,
Okay.
yes.
So the New Testament being written in biographical format does not eliminate it from being revelation, nor does it eliminate it from it being the injeel.
No. Since my criteria is that God did not reveal a biographical Bible to Jesus,
That's
then
not
if
your
the president,
how do you know? That's my how do you know that?
I just told you I reject it. And
Yeah.
how do I know that? Okay. You're asking me how do I reject this? Okay, here. Because since I am a Muslim, the Quran tells me what are the contents of the Injil. It tells me.
So show me in the Quran where it tells you what style the Injil was revealed in or what style it was written in. Go ahead.
Okay, like you've read it many times in Surah 5, it tells me that Allah is speaking to Muhammad. He says, well, tell the people of the book to judge by what's in the Gospel and Torah. And then later through the verses, he is told, but take the Quran as a supreme authority.
No, he doesn't say that. He doesn't say that. However, again, let me even grant this to you. Let me grant you that the Quran is your supreme authority. Here's my question again. Using your supreme authority, where in the Quran does it tell you what style the Injil was revealed in or what style the Injil was written in? Where does the Quran give you that information?
Yeah. The Quran does not tell me what style the Injil was written in.
So then how do you know? This is back to my question. How do you know that it wasn't revealed in or written in biographical format? How do you know that wasn't the case?
Okay, so you're saying since the Quran does not tell me in what style the Injil was revealed in, how do I know that the Injil was not revealed in a biographical format? Because since I'm using the Quran as a supreme authority, whatever agrees with the Quran, I can take it to be the words of the Injil.
No worries, my friend. That's not, again, you're not answering the question.
Come on. I'm answering. So I'm saying, if I'm going to use the Quran as a supreme authority, then if the contents of the Quran are not biographical, then I can rule out the fact that the Bible is not biographical. Sorry, the Injil.
Time out. Where does the Quran say that the Injil was revealed the same way the Quran was?
No, it tells me, the Quran tells me that the Injil was the words of God, just like the Quran, the Torah, the Zabur.
It doesn't say just like the Quran. Show me where it says that the Injil are the words of God, just like the Quran. Where does it say that?
Okay, as you obviously know, I didn't memorize the Quran, so I can't give you a pinpoint.
I do. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. That's why I'm asking you these questions, because they don't exist.
Yeah, I'll grant this to you. Perhaps there is no verse saying that all scriptures are exactly the same, or they are written in the same style. Okay,
right.
I'll grant. Okay.
So again, we're left with the possibility that the Injil could have been revealed in or written in biographical format, correct?
Okay, so you're not asking me whether I believe it was. Are you saying is it a possibility?
Correct.
Okay, then As much as I hate I'm doing this, but fine. It might have been a possibility.
Okay, it's okay, man. Look, there is no loser when there's honesty. You don't lose when you're honest. You actually win, bro. Okay.
Okay.
So I know that this is like, as I'm challenging you and stuff like that, but as you're honest, I'm telling you, you're not losing. You're winning. You're winning as an honest person. Trust me.
Here's why I think I'm losing. Because since I lack in knowledge compared to you, I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe I'm agreeing with you in the fact that I don't know what I'm talking about, and perhaps the little more that you know than me, perhaps you're using that. I just lost my argument, but perhaps you know more than
I'm not taking advantage of you, brother. What I'm doing is I'm taking advantage of a bad argument. That's all. This doesn't start with you. I didn't do this you're not the first one. I've done this to your best. I've done this to Muslim Cowboy, Dawa Overdunya, Hamza at Hamza's Den, all three of them at the same time. I had this very conversation with them, gave them these same questions. They got stuck the same way. So, but instead, the difference with you and them is that you're more honest with this. They were stumbling and stuttering because they were lying and getting stuck and embarrassed. You're being more honest with your answer, so it's not bad. You know what I'm saying? I just want to encourage you like that. It's you're not looking bad, bro. Okay.
Oh, yeah. One more thing, Avery. If you are looking for real answers, you do understand that you're not gonna find any better answers than you received from the quote unquote top debaters in here.
I know.
So I have a plan for you.
I already did it. Did you not just hear what I just said?
Okay, so here's my invitation to you. Have you heard of a speaker named Muhammad Hijab?
Yes, he lives in London. I'm in America.
You're in America.
I went to London, and when I went there, he wasn't there. Let's continue with us, okay? So far, we're being honest. Yes. When we match everything up, the questions, the logical conclusions that we have,
yes,
then it's pretty reasonable to say that the injeel is the New Testament. And there's no real reason, there's no logical, no foundation on why you can reject that. Right?
My logical rejection to the Bible is the New Testament is the New Testament itself, just by reading it. I mean, it's preaching the doctrine of the Trinity.
No worries, but that's not telling me that it's not the Injeel, man. That's not telling me that it's not the Injeel. This would just mean that the Injeel taught the Trinity.
Okay, so maybe the Injeel taught the Trinity. So what you're saying is then the Quran was revealed to Muhammad, somehow rejecting Trinity, and then also confirms it. That's your idea. That's your logic.
And now you have just hit the button on what we call the Islamic dilemma. Exactly. The Quran confirms a book that it contradicts. That's one of the reasons that makes Islam false. Yes.
I have a question. Does the Quran confirm the entire book or segments of the book?
It confirms the entire book. As a matter of fact, it says about people who try to pick and choose, who say some parts are good while the others are corrupted. It says this in 285. It says, do you believe in part of the book but reject the rest? The punishment for those is disgrace in this life and a severe torment in the hereafter. That's what the Quran says about people who try to pick and choose what's good in the book and what's not. The Quran hates that.
What if it's speaking metaphorically?
Oh, come on, dog.
Come on, man. Okay. To the best of my understanding, the Quran does not confirm the New Testament. It confirms to Muhammad that in fact some of the Injeel does remain within their books, but through time it was corrupted. So now I'm giving you the final revelation, so you can go confirm the truth that remains with them and reject the falsehood and use this revelation as a supreme authority.
So okay, that's the next argument. No worries. However, this still doesn't deal with the first issue on what the Injil is essentially. So all this would mean is that the New Testament is the Injil, but just a corrupted version. Is that right?
The New Testament is the Injil, but a corrupted version. Okay, since it came down from the same lineage of Jesus and his disciples, and the followers came, and perhaps the disciples wrote down the real injeel, and through time it was corrupted, and the Roman empires had an influence on it, and then obviously new doctrines were introduced. So perhaps I'll agree to this point, and if I am incorrect, I hope my community can correct me. Yeah,
No worries.
we'll be on that.
No worries. So this is where we're at with our honest Muslim friend on what is the injeel, guys. He's willing to acknowledge, at least for now, right, with his level of knowledge and what we went through and his intellectual consistency, that the New Testament is the injeel, but it's just corrupted. Okay.
Corrupted, yeah.
All right. So I can work with this. I can actually work with this. Now we're moving to phase 2. Is it corrupted?